This is a story about a handover that wasn't a handover. It is about what happens when the long arm of the law turns into a tag team and a former governor finds out that freedom can be a matter of minutes. If you believe in the importance of following these complex stories, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us stay on the trail of the truth. Let's set the scene. It's about 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night in Abuja. The lights are on at the EFCC headquarters in the Jabi area. Inside, after 2 long days of grilling over allegations of corruption totaling a staggering 423 billion naira, a former state governor is finally being told he can go. Nasir El-Rufai, the powerful and outspoken former governor of Kaduna State, has been granted bail. You can almost imagine the slight relaxation of shoulders, the muted conversations with his legal team. After 48 hours in detention, he is technically a free man. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. As El-Rufai steps out of the building, stepping from the EFCC's custody into the cool Abuja night, he walks straight into the arms of another waiting force. Armed operatives from the Department of State Services, DSS, are there. They didn't just happen to be passing by. Witnesses say they were waiting. They had been laying in wait at the EFCC headquarters. Before he could even savor the taste of bail, El-Rufai was rearrested. Now, at this point, we have to imagine the scene. One moment you're walking towards your car, perhaps towards your family. The next, armed men are surrounding you, and you're being driven away to another detention facility. This time, the DSS headquarters in the highbrow Asokoro district of Abuja. The handover was seamless. The baton was passed.
To understand why the DSS was so keen to get his hands on him, we have to rewind the tape to Friday, February 13th, 2026. El-Rufai was a guest on Arise News TV on their primetime program. It was a live interview, the kind where every word is broadcast in real time with no chance for a retake. During that interview, El-Rufai dropped a bombshell. He claimed that the phone of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, had been tapped. He claimed he had listened to a conversation where Ribadu allegedly directed security operatives to arrest him. He even linked this to a brief confrontation at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport the day before, where his passport was seized. Listen to what he said, according to reports. Ribadu made the call because we listened to their calls. The government thinks that they are the only ones who listen to calls, but we also have our ways. He made the call. He gave the order that they should arrest me. That technically is illegal. I know, but the government does it all the time. Let's pause and think about the human side of this for a moment. Whether you are a political heavyweight or an ordinary citizen, the idea that your most private conversations are being listened to by someone else is unsettling. But for a former governor to admit on live television that he was privy to the intercepted calls of the country's top security official, that sent shockwaves far beyond the studio. Here's a question for you. In a world where technology makes it easier to spy, how safe do you feel your private conversations are? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
The federal government, through the DSS, reacted swiftly. By Monday, they had filed a 3-count charge against El-Rufai at the Federal High Court in Abuja, marked FHC/ABJ/CR/99/2026. Now, let us look at these charges clearly, because they are quite specific. Count 1 alleges that El-Rufai, by admitting during the interview that he and his cohorts unlawfully intercepted the NSA's phone communications, committed an offense under Section 12(1) of the Cybercrimes Prohibition, Prevention, etc. Amendment Act 2024. Count 2 states that, by knowing about the person who did the tapping and not reporting them to the authorities, he violated Section 27B of the same Act. Count 3 goes a step further. It alleges that by using technical equipment to intercept these calls, he compromised public safety and national security, instilling reasonable apprehension of insecurity among Nigerians. This falls under Section 131 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003. In simple terms, the government isn't just saying he listened to a call. They are saying that by listening, by admitting it publicly, and by failing to report the crime, he endangered national security. But the phone tapping charge wasn't the only reason El-Rufai was in handcuffs. Remember, he had just spent 2 days with the EFCC. Another angle to this issue is the massive financial allegations hanging over his head. The EFCC's interest in El-Rufai stems from a damning report by the Kaduna State House of Assembly, released in 2024. That report alleged that during his 8 years as governor, 2015 to 2023, a staggering 423 billion naira was siphoned. We are not talking about small changes. The allegations include loans obtained but not used for their intended purposes, contracts awarded without due process, alleged diversion of 1.37 billion naira meant for a light rail project. The EFCC had been investigating him for about a year before finally inviting him. As a source told The Punch, persons accused are always the last, that is after we might have done our investigation to an advanced stage.
This brings us back to the airport incident on Thursday, the day before the TV interview. El-Rufai had just returned from Cairo, Egypt. Videos circulating online showed a confrontation. Security operatives moved in, his international passport was confiscated. Supporters chanted, it was chaotic. His lawyer, Ubong Akpan, condemned it as arbitrary and unconstitutional. But security sources had a different take. They claimed the passport was seized to stop him from fleeing the country, especially since he had plans to return to Cairo after honoring his EFCC invitation. From this point, we need to understand the stakes. If the allegations of phone tapping are true, we are not just talking about a political feud. We are talking about a potential breach of national security protocol. Security expert Japheth Johnson, speaking on the issue, painted a grim picture. It means a private individual can actually listen to what's happening in one of the highest official country's security in Nigeria. It can lead to a lot of things like compromise in counterterrorism. But here's where the story gets even deeper. There is a third thread in this rope. The DSS is also reopening a cold case that has haunted Kaduna since 2019, the disappearance of Abubakar Idris, popularly known as Dadiyata. Dadiyata was a lecturer and a known critic of El-Rufai's administration. In August 2019, gunmen took him from his home. He has never been found. When asked about it on the same Arise TV interview, El-Rufai claimed he wasn't aware of Dadiyata's existence, suggesting the missing man was more of a problem for the Kaduna State government. However, security sources are now alleging that El-Rufai's own sons, Bello and Bashir, are being investigated in connection with the case. The source claimed that social media posts by the sons at the time suggested that Dadiyata was a problem for their family. One official put it bluntly, he is aware of the security implications of seizing his passport. He knows he can't officially leave the country, which is very bad for him.
As you can imagine, the reaction on the streets has been mixed. On Monday, when El-Rufai arrived at the EFCC, there were protesters. But they weren't all on the same side. Some groups, like the Mega National Movement for Good Governance, were at the gate with placards reading El-Rufai not above the law. They demanded a thorough probe, insisting that this was a matter of accountability, not political persecution. Others, however, chanted solidarity songs. This is a man who, just a few years ago, was a political kingmaker. He backed President Bola Tinubu's successful bid in 2023. But politics is a fickle friend. After his ministerial nomination didn't materialize, he fell out with the president and recently joined the opposition African Democratic Congress, ADC, vowing to challenge Tinubu in 2027. Another question for you. Do you see this as a legitimate anti-corruption drive, or is there a political vendetta at play here? Let us know in the comments. As of late Wednesday night, El-Rufai remained in DSS custody. No arraignment date has been set for the cybercrime charges. His lawyer is demanding the return of his passport and has warned of legal action against unlawful detention. The bigger lesson for public safety here is twofold. First, on a personal level, it's a reminder that in the digital age, our communications are vulnerable. Whether through sophisticated spyware like Pegasus or simply access at the service provider level, no call is 100% private. Second, on a national level, it highlights the fragility of our security architecture. If high-ranking officials fear their phones are being tapped by political rivals, how can they function effectively? Trust is the currency of governance, and when that eroded, everyone is at risk. The former governor, who once wielded immense power, is now at the mercy of the very system he helped navigate. The EFCC held him for corruption, the DSS grabbed him for cybercrime, and somewhere in the background, the ghost of Dadiyata lingers. The advice for the public: be aware, be vigilant, and hold your leaders accountable, no matter who they are. Because the rule of law must apply to everyone, from the streets of Kaduna to the corridors of power in Abuja. If you made it to the end of this complex story, it means you care about the future of our nation. Please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more updates. We will be watching this case closely, from the courtroom to the streets.